For 45 years, the Islamic Republic of Iran ruled through fear, Basij militias, revolutionary guards, and the silence of prisons. But in the winter of 2025, cracks appeared. Protests sparked by economic despair refused to fade. By January 2026, these protests became a nationwide rejection of the entire system. The regime, used to crushing dissent, failed to see the shift. This was a revolution of consciousness. Fear gave way to collective rage. Ordinary citizens, armed with resolve, challenged the state's monopoly on violence. Chants demanded not reform, but an end. The cost of submission now outweighed the risk of defiance. The uprising transcended class, ethnicity, and geography, unifying the nation. Neighborhood committees sprang up, organizing security and aid, acting as a government in waiting. Every funeral for a slain protester became a rallying cry, fueling the revolution. The wall of fear was not just cracked, it was being torn down, brick by brick. January 18, 2026, Tehran's Basij headquarters, once a symbol of regime power, became the revolution's target. Tens of thousands converged, moving with discipline and purpose. The compound's steel doors buckled under relentless pressure. This was no riot, but a coordinated assault. When the gates fell, it was more than metal breaking. It was the collapse of a psychological barrier. Protesters liberated political prisoners and sent shockwaves across Iran. The Basij fled, their uniforms discarded, their myth of invincibility shattered. The regime's authority in Tehran evaporated overnight. Power shifted to the people, who now controlled the capital's streets. The fall of the fortress marked the end of the old order in Tehran. News of Tehran's liberation spread through citizen networks, igniting a national uprising. Protests in cities like Isfahan, Shiraz, and Tabriz became coordinated offensives. Police stations and Basij centers, once untouchable, were overrun and set ablaze. Martial law was declared, but the regime's forces were besieged and demoralized. Neighborhoods erected barricades, reclaiming their streets. Local officials fled. Revolutionary councils took over governance and aid. Each liberated city inspired the next, creating a domino effect. The regime's command structure collapsed under the weight of mass defiance. What began as protest became a grassroots movement, building a new Iran from the ground up. The fall of Tehran was just the beginning. The revolution swept across the nation. Cornered, the regime unleashed a week of brutal violence, over 5,000 killed in days. The goal terrorized the nation into silence. Instead, every martyr fueled the uprising. In cities like Shahinshar and Mobarake, massacres only deepened public fury. The judiciary dispensed death sentences in minutes, executions soared. The regime's violence stripped away its last shred of legitimacy. Funerals became mass protests, grief turning to rage. The victims, often teenagers, became symbols of resistance. By murdering its own children, the regime crossed a final moral line. The campaign of terror failed. The river of blood only swept the regime closer to collapse. The people's anger became unstoppable. The regime's fate was sealed by its own brutality. The 20,000 inaz demsensen, noyasixan debundersensen skan. Protesters were smarter, adapting guerrilla tactics to urban streets. Barricades, ambushes, and rooftop projectiles neutralized Basij motorcycle squads. The state's internet blackout failed. Starlink terminals and mesh networks kept the revolution connected. Videos of regime retreats and burning police stations spread instantly, boosting morale nationwide. The People's Network became a force multiplier, inspiring new uprisings city by city. Protesters targeted weak points, distinguishing between conscripted police and loyalist Basij. The regime's rigid command structure couldn't adapt to decentralized resistance. The monopoly on violence was broken. The people seized the initiative. This was a revolution powered by 21st century ingenuity and hard-won lessons. The regime lost control of both the streets and the narrative. As the regime's power crumbled, its true nature was exposed. No longer a theocracy, it was seen as a mafia cartel, plundering wealth for a corrupt elite. The Basij and IRGC were enforcers for a criminal enterprise, not defenders of faith. Ambulances became tools of war. Trust in state institutions evaporated. The government was now a treacherous enemy, not a misguided authority. Fighting a mafia, not a holy cause, galvanized the people. The regime's religious claims rang hollow. Its moral collapse was complete. The revolution became a national exorcism, driving out 45 years of corruption. The regime's security shield began to splinter. Many Basijan police, seeing the elite's corruption, questioned why they should kill their own people. Reports of officers refusing orders, abandoning posts, and surrendering spread. The regime, desperate, flew in foreign mercenaries, further enraging the populace. The IRGC's tactics, copied from the IRA, were designed for insurgency, not defending against a nation in revolt. Facing a mirror image of their own playbook, the security forces faltered. Corruption hollowed out their loyalty. Mercenaries replaced trusted ranks. The people were not faceless rioters, they were friends and family. The shield broke, not from force, but from within. When the final push came, the security apparatus simply collapsed. As cities fell, Supreme Leader Khamenei vanished, hiding in a deep underground bunker. His final broadcast sounded hollow, his power shrank to a concrete tomb. The real plan, escape. An Airbus A340, engines ready, waited at a secret airfield. Destination, Russia. Khamenei prepared to trade nuclear secrets for asylum. The image of the Supreme Leader fleeing with state secrets shattered any illusion of his resolve. He had preached sacrifice, but when threatened, chose flight over martyrdom. Even loyalists saw the hypocrisy. He was just another autocrat running from his own people. The captain was ready to abandon the sinking ship. The regime's end was confirmed by its leader's desperate escape. The fall of the Islamic Republic was not the end, but a new beginning for Iran. Ordinary people, students, workers, mothers, had toppled a brutal dictatorship. The wall of fear was gone. Iranians reclaimed their history. Revolutionary councils now faced the challenge of building a new nation. Debates raged: democracy, monarchy, or something new. The world watched, hopeful and anxious, as Iran's future was rewritten. The revolution's cost was immense, but so was its promise. For the first time in generations, Iranians were masters of their destiny. The desire for freedom had proven stronger than any regime.